check up on him, and they called him at the last minute. And said today in Holton, he was thinking, well, if it was at 10 o'clock in Holton, he thought he might be able to blister it down to Indian Township in time. And I said, geez, why don't you just, but he's okay.
A lot. Okay, good.
He's okay. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I've had one of those, they just monitor,
It's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's
background information. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Jill, can you hear us in the room?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. Okay, great.
So what would be best for me to present? I've got a flash drive or I've got a whole computer.
Well, if you want to do the flash drive.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things. Do you want people to see you while you're presenting?
I don't want to scare
Yes, they
anybody, but
see
if
that.
I don't mind.
There's a couple of things that we can do. See down here. There's
As long as
video.
the slides are the more important part. So
Okay.
I
So
don't necessarily care.
There's
put some.
also coffee.
Do you have
if
any
anyone wants any.
video or sound?
Oh,
And you can just.
Sign in required.
Nice.
Check away.
Aramish Barker, Fisheries Outreach Coordinator for the Penobscot Nation.
Oh, very nice to meet you.
You as well.
Business to do.
Okay.
Are you aware of our Boundary Waters rules update?
I have not known.
it'll be the
And just so I'm telling everyone who walks in the room, the live stream is running.
This is coffee.
Yep.
Don't see if you can see it.
Oh, outside.
You would do this share.
Nobody at the University of Maine can give me a street address for this building.
Well,
I noticed out
It's
front.
23 Sebago Road.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that difficult. I go to the university's
this right up
website,
here.
I go to their map page,
To give you
nothing.
that. You just need to hide the video.
It's obviously a stealth facility.
When you're done,
Top secret.
before you stop the share, go back and show. Share. So sometimes it will come back if you forget. If it comes back and you just read, then
Oh, it's been.
Alright, is this my microphone or?
it's the overhead one. Sound.
Geez, Nelson, looking like a pro with that,
In the
like your kids running in there.
No,
Oh.
but
come on, man.
I'll say,
Oh,
you losing weight?
you want to, when you're up here, you can
Yeah, about 50 pounds.
change the.
how you doing?
Good job.
Need it, lay on the rack, I'm getting old, I can't handle it. Need it. Joey Bar.
Aramish Barker.
Was it really though?
That would be also.
Smell this, it's busy.
Okay.
Just not getting me.
thank you.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Sorry about the cord.
Oh,
Do you need that board taped down?
Not unless people are afraid of tripping on it, but I think everyone can see it pretty prominently. So.
I'll get some gaffer tape and just put it at that.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Just in case.
Secure.
Okay.
I was thinking, it's like, watch me be the
Yeah.
person that trips on that cord.
Cody?
Am.
Oh, yes, we met. It was about a check away, but it's been a couple of years.
Yes. Good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you both. I've got some catching up to do on the Boundary Waters project.
Sure. I'm
Which is
told
completely new to you, right?
Yes.
mostly new to me as well.
Okay,
But,
yeah, both.
yeah. As far as like my engagement in it,
Okay.
I'm aware.
Well, you may not be the guy I need. whoever's in charge of your GIS mapping.
Oh, yeah, that's
John?
not me, but I can put you in touch with Sean Snyder, our GIS expert at the tribe.
When you get a chance on the Wayne, do the background.
Sure.
Thanks, Carol.
I think I'm only gonna be around until the end of my presentation at 10:30, and then they're kicking me out, but we can,
But I've got you on my mailing list. You'll see, I send around every couple of months updates on what we're trying to do, to update the boundary waters,
right.
our
Thanks for the
jurisdiction.
emails going around, but yeah, I didn't feel like I was the right person to fit in there, but it sounds like Sean is who you're looking for, and we can get you in touch with him for sure. Actually, I'm gonna write myself.
You know, actually, what's going on is we've just been trying to reconcile mapping information with inland fisheries. My name's Jared Parker down in Augusta. And Nels and I go back to the days of paper maps. I guess everything is now, oh no, you're updated.
Yeah,
So we exchanged GIS data, but nobody here at MITSC can like open the files to see what they're looking at. And it was Joe Sewell at Indian Township who sent us a couple of like aerial maps with colors drawn in. He said, you know, there's a discrepancy because what IFNW is showing as a boundary is here, and what we're showing as a boundary is there. I can, if you put me in touch with the right guy.
yeah, he's a whiz at that stuff and more, so.
I'm sorry, you gave me the name and I didn't write it down. It was,
Sean, SEAN.
Oh, that's H.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry,
Sean,
Sean
no, Sean Smith is who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Sean, SHAWN
Snyder, yes.
Snyder, SNYDER. See my Sean speaks. I've got like three of them.
thank you.
It's too many.
It's okay.
And it should just be sean.snyder@penobscotnation.org for an email on that too.
That go at the governor's restaurant or something.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel was there.
Do you mind if I either write it down or do you mind just writing your name there? Cause for our minutes, we try to record.
You've got beautiful handwriting.
And maybe your title too.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've got Sean. He is on the blast list. But now that I know he's the map guy, I'll give him special attention.
Yeah. He also in the last few weeks has been moving sort of across the country a bit. So he may have gotten
Okay,
rattled by the shuffle, but he'll be on it for sure. So,
thank you.
oh, my phone's on.
Finally. Mr. Chairman. Anybody else here remember when the chairman was Mao? Mao?
Now,
Mao,
Chairman now?
Chairman Mao, no, more Chairman Mao. Mao Zedong,
Oh,
there you go.
I remember. Yeah, there used to be a song about her, wasn't there?
Don't you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, ain't gonna make anyone anyhow.
Yep.
Sorry, Rachel, I didn't sing either.
I didn't know if I was gonna make it.
Made it.
Glad you
I
did.
did, I wasn't feeling well yesterday, so.
Mm.
That's
See.
something going around.
We're waiting on Sam, Rena.
What is this you're drinking here, Rachel? Because from my angle, it looks like a bottle of vinegar.
Oh, it's kombucha and
Okay.
but it's not actually, the bottle is kombucha, but it's just water, but it must be reflecting the color of the table. Cause it should look clear.
Oh, just the glass bottle, it just seemed vinegary to me. That was the whole.
Kombucha can be compared to vinegar.
It's true. Ginger, I mean.
I don't know, if are we waiting for a quorum to start the meeting, or do you want to start the meeting?
I'm waiting for my computer, yes.
Okay. I can text Sam and Rena.
Sam said he was gonna be here in present, but that was back when it was up at Dockmobile. He's probably up there.
Probably a township.
He said he was
Yeah.
zooming in, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Shows up, he's not gonna get in because it's court. Court today, the building's closed.
How often do they hold court there?
It's a month. But they have court Monday. They have special sessions. So usually the chief closes the building down, so there's not all that traffic. Trying to build a separate building, but it might be a couple of years before that happens. Give them their space. Was Rachel had contacted them and they said there was nothing going on, and my wife's a court clerk, so.
I'm glad you found out.
Well, I
when
was
you
like,
did.
I remember she had court Monday and I'm like, you got court Friday? She said, yes. I'm like, huh. Rachel had called somebody and they said the room was available. She goes, no, it's on, and there's a board outside the council chambers. And it literally says travel court, so whoever you spoke to didn't read the board.
Oh.
I said, like, we got a question. We're supposed to have a meeting Friday here. She goes, yeah, not here. We're looking to Bear Lodge, but by then,
Give your wife credit for saving us a disaster.
yeah. I just.
Bailiff, take them into custody.
I'm curious, when you said Bear Lodge, I
Yeah.
looked it up and
It's,
I've been by, but I've
Yeah,
never been in.
so it, she redid the whole thing 6 years ago. There's a bunch of cabins that are big.
You've been by Bear Lodge?
No, I've drove by it, but drove by the road that goes into it.
Oh, okay.
On the Grand Lake, yeah, you're not far from.
Yeah, exactly.
I can say if you've been by it, then you're
Is that-
pretty darn close.
Yeah, either by boat or that one road that goes in.
Right, exactly.
It's on Long Lake.
Mm.
What is Bear Lodge? Is that a tribal property?
Yeah, it's a bunch of cabins that have been there since the 80s. Chief redid them 5-6 years ago.
Open to the public?
Yeah, people could rent them. It's usually pretty busy through the summer.
I
It
bet.
literally sits right on Long Lake.
Wow.
It's a beautiful spot.
I love that whole area.
Yeah.
It's-
Another tribal business I haven't kept track of.
Yes, it's usually pretty busy through the summer. Actually, right now it's pretty full because it's been shut down at the mill and a lot of the businesses rent. It's like 10 cabins.
Hmm.
Plus there's a hall that you could hold meetings, or there's a bunch of activities that are held there through the year.
Who runs the place?
Tribe does.
I mean, who would I call if I
Oh, good. I tried to make it strong.
just look it up on the internet?
You can.
Yeah.
See if I can find
My wife won't let me make it strong like that at home, so
Yeah.
I appreciate it when I get it.
Oh, good. I hope everyone else does.
It's got its own Facebook page. Bear Lodge Cabins.
Facebook.
And there's a, it says booking at bearlodgemaine.com.
Thank you.
You had them all redone. They've got heat pumps in them.
Cabin with the heat pump.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it has internet now. So when they first opened them, there was no internet down there. So
Lap of luxury.
it's beautiful. We actually went down 4th of July and drove to the end. They have a dock and they've actually got a pontoon boat there for the elders. They take them out once a
Oh,
week
nice.
just to go on, because it's all connected. Louis Lake, Long Lake, Big Lake, they're all connected. So
Wow.
take them over cruises out there. Go up to it.
So which lake, I know Big Lake, which lake is Long Lake?
It's connected to it. It should, when you go by the church and the school, Long Lake is on your left,
Okay,
and there's an arrows that take you to Big Lake. And actually it connects to Louis Lake, which is right across from the tribal office, into St. Croix River.
okay,
That whole section is all connected. It's beautiful.
okay. Sam said he's hopping on in just a second. I haven't heard from Rena. There's Sam.
Okay, so with the agenda, are there items that are gonna need full form?
Minutes.
There's another thing too, I think.
Yeah. The subcommittee, legislative subcommittee.
Yeah.
That's right. We won't solve that even with the quorum.
Rena had said she was coming yesterday, but perhaps we start and then just bump the
Just get
minutes.
Cody out of
Because
there.
Cody's on a schedule, so,
Whatever works for you guys.
okay.
Oh, you're the star of the show. Hey, really?
He's out of there.
You don't gotta swell that.
Jill?
Morning.
Morning. Is it just Joel and one?
No, there's Bert, Darren, Zeke, and Sam are all online too, but you can only see people when their cameras are on.
Okay.
So I can see
So who's not here?
just Rena.
Just Rena, okay.
We're that close to a quorum?
Rena, I'll just text her. She says. All right, so we'll go ahead and start. No. My bond. Oh,
There's Rena. Hi.
Holy.
Bingo, that's a quorum.
I was just messaging you all back that I was on.
oh, I didn't
I was
know.
fixing my bun. You missed it.
Will they win?
Uh-huh.
All right.
I'm gonna do my best to stay present. I did share with Rachel Bell that we were in the process of uploading a grant application this morning. So I may be in and out, but I'm here right now.
All right, so let's start then, and I just want to say a little honoring to the creator before we get moving.
Okay, don't know.
Leeuwen niggas waskumen, chameleon upch, emkiskak, pamaus wagon. Naga chameleon eduji woolly nagwak, we go to a good, elevitas exkit commit. Would you come in there, niggas waskumen? City when gazaman, I got a graduate, would you come on in? The make with hama no gonna tell me, Nikani all dated. Leeuwen niggas waskumen, taho. Leeuwen. Okay, so I'm gonna have
Really one?
Leeuwen have a roll call here with
You want me to start?
yeah, I'll start with township.
Joey Barnes, citizen of Passport Tribe, represent Indian Township.
Mills Kramer, state rep.
Bob Checkaway from Freeport, the only other state rep.
Great, and online? Passamaquoddy?
Willie one Noel, Rena Newell, Passamaquoddy, representing Sabayak.
Awesome. Ezekiel?
Hello everyone, Z. Cross McDonald, Holton Bannermouse Indians.
Leeuwen? Robert?
Oh, is that me? Bert Polchis, Penobscot Nation. We won.
Leeuwen, and do we have Sam?
Yeah, you just can't see him.
Oh, okay. You're right, I can't. Oh, there he is.
Hey, I'm here. Sorry. There's too many things going on for me this morning. Darren Raycom, Penobscot Nation.
Leeuwen, Darren? And Sam, can you hear us?
Yep, same thing, John Holton, Ben Mouthpiece.
Leeuwen, so we do have quorum. Thank you. And review of the and approval of the April 10, 2026 and May 26, 2026 meeting minutes.
I move to approve them both as proffered.
Second.
And we have a first and a second to approve both sets of meeting minutes. Any questions or comments on those?
Actually, hello.
Hello. Hey, Jill.
We had a terrible time. That legislative discussion was kind of all over the place, and the transcript was not very helpful. So I have a couple of questions on pages 4 and 5, whether it was Bob Checkaway who made the motion, and then to approve the draft, and then the second motion to table. So I wondered if anyone could remember if they were people who made those motions.
I remember bungling that whole discussion. I think Chairman Louis left the room and chaos overtook us. I made a series of motions. So my guess is we have the blank motion to table. That sounds like my effort to punt the thing. So I would be willing to see my name inserted as there item 9, the table. And I don't know that we ever arrived at a resolution that we could put in the bank.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I have not. Okay. All right, you okay, Jill?
Yes, on that. Thank you.
Anyone else, any comments, concerns?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just I recall Ambassador Crofton McDonald's remarks that we had that the proposal as we had it was not likely to be workable. And I agree with that, but it's, for now, it's all we've got. We'll just have to try to do the best we can. And if the answer, anytime the legislature should ask us on less than 7 days' notice, the answer may be, we're a deliberative body and we need 7 days' notice to have a meeting and we can't give you an answer. I respectfully submit.
Hey, Bob, if we're skipping right to that discussion, that might be the simplest solution for the moment until we find something better.
So are you proposing an amendment to those minutes?
I better not touch. Oh, I'm sorry. Proposing an amendment to the minutes only so far as to fill the blank at item 9, to state that I was the unfortunate to move to table the discussion at that meeting. And I don't know that we have an agreed on resolution as we sit. Unless somebody moves to take it back off the table.
Okay, so you're just making that amendment to insert your name into that
Yes,
missing piece of information.
correct.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
And for purposes of our record, shall we just agree that that whole motion has been tabled until somebody takes it back off the table? I see some nods.
I think that was reflected in the minutes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, anyone opposed to the approval of the minutes? We're all in favor? And Sam and Zeke? Darren?
Darren.
Who's with us?
Sam, Zeke and Darren are on my screen,
Okay,
but I don't know if they heard you.
Oh, I did.
okay. You all set? You approve? Okay.
Zeke and Darren, have they raised a
I
hand
haven't seen anything.
or virtual hand?
Ezekiel, are you there? Darren?
While you're waiting for them, I heard Bob make the motion, but I didn't hear who made the second.
Joey.
Oh, Joey, okay, thank you.
They're muted?
Yep.
Well, hybrid meeting, I'm not even sure how to proceed here.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Point of
Yes.
order. I think once we've established quorum, a majority of those at the meeting is sufficient to act. So even if Zeke and Darren aren't with us anymore, hello, Zeke, Darren? Even if they're not with us anymore.
All right, so moved. The minutes are approved for the 26th of April and, 26th of May and the 10th of April. Thank you. Okay, item 3, Tribal Nations Contributions Request.
So yeah, there had been a let me see, when was the vote taken? can't remember what day it was. April 10th, the commission adopted a resolution to annually visit with each of the tribal communities, and then to also make an invitation to the tribal nations who are members of MITSC to make an annual contribution of $5,000. So what you've got in your packet is the more formalized resolution I did for that. And I guess that's another thing, is I never saw anything like that gets formally submitted somewhere outside of MITSC. So for like when Newell, when he was reelected, I wanted something formal to send the Secretary of State's office, so I did a more formal resolution for that. So, I mean, you can look at this and maybe re-ratify it. It just includes more of the language justifying why MITSC should be seeking contributions from the tribal nations. And then I've also included one of the letters that I sent to, in this instance, Chief Nicholas. And then along with that went an invoice. I did an invoice. So we have not received any funds. And I don't know if Chief Nicholas isn't on, is he? Because I offered to let him, come and speak with you all. And because his concern was that I sent a letter saying, $5,000 for the Passamaquoddy tribe. And I didn't segregate it out into Sibayak and Matakmikuk. So ordinarily, then the invoice would be for $2,500. That $5,000 contribution would be split in half. So if I understood his concern, he wanted each of the communities to be listed separately in the resolution. So for them to be treated separately, whereas, under MITSC's establishment, it's the Passamaquoddy tribe as a whole. So I was not comfortable doing that.
Right, so hold on, Bert. So Jill, so you said we have not received any contributions either from Passamaquoddy, Penobscot, Maliseet, or Mi'kmaq. I mean, Maliseet or.
Right. And I actually think Chief Francis had mentioned to me that he thought that was in the works, but I have not yet received anything.
Okay, thank you. Bert?
And Mi'kmaq's not contributing anything at this
Right,
time.
no, I misspoke, sorry.
Yeah, so from what I remember, in the past, one of the things that we try to emphasize when dealing with Beskid is that we reference them separately. I mean, there's times where we reference them as a whole. However, when I think if I recall correctly, is that when dealing with matters such as this, we would actually reference them individually, because though they split that overall amount, and so when we're requesting for them to do anything in regards to that part of the funding, we ask them separately, and basically it's that amount that's split in half. That's how we, I remember it was done, and pretty much throughout the past, that I've been on the commission.
Lou and Bert? Yeah, so I mean, just for clarification, that's the statute, I think Jill says we're talking about Passamaquoddy as one entity, correct?
Yes.
And Penobscot as an entity and Maliseet as an entity. And whatever the Passamaquoddy tribe, well, whatever was agreed upon for the Passamaquoddy tribe was that we have a representative from each reserve. And so I don't know, I mean, how we're, theoretically, township could pay 4,000 and Pleasant Point could pay 1 or vice versa, whatever, but I think they split it, so thank you. Cool.
Jill, do you? When the payments have been made in the past, before we said 5,000, did each Pleasant Point and Township pay 2,500 each?
Yes,
So when you spoke to the chief, he wanted it split that way, or I guess I'm confused.
he wanted it to say to request contributions from Passamaquoddy tribe at Sabayet, Passamaquoddy tribe at Metakmikuk, and he said Metakmikuk was willing to pay the whole 5,000. But then last year, Chief Bassett objected to the $5,000 amount because there wasn't a resolution. And so they paid $2,500, which was the last resolution. So the resolution is important, apparently, so we can make it as detailed as possible.
I wonder, I'm sorry, I wonder if, you know, we can do the, you know, like the blanket, you know, Passamaquoddy, the Passamaquoddy tribe, and then on that same thing, separate it.
I'm gonna chime in here. Thank you for the reference to what took place last year, Jill, with Chief Bassett's position. And thank you for the follow-up, in regards to that, as far as the resolution and what Chief Bassett felt he would have liked to have seen. I'm currently messaging him right now to ask whether or not he received the letter of request. I've not heard back, and I've just checked with my chief financial officer as well to see if there's anything in our finance department. I did raise the question with Chief Bassett, if there's an understanding between himself and Chief Nicholas as to the amount, and I would just state that that'll probably be worked out between Chief Bassett and Chief Nicholas. Lewin?
Lewin, Rena. So I guess the
I
point
had
of.
asked Newell if he could facilitate that conversation, but I know he's been out of date.
I have been out, and also, as I stated in that email, I thought that had been resolved, but maybe that was another issue we were talking about, or I was talking about. In either case, we can follow up. Jill and I will talk about it and follow up appropriately with Indian Township and Z-Bike. Lewin?
Lewin?
Any other questions on the Tribal Nation request? All set? And with that, I just wanted to say, so who am I looking at? Sorry.
Cody Dillingham, fisheries biologist for the Penobscot Nation.
Okay.
Ramesh Barker.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
outreach coordinator with the Penobscot Nation now.
Okay. Used to be Wabanaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why you look familiar.
Yeah.
So before the next item, Joe, what are we doing here? William Clay.
Just that the letter that Stacy
William Clay,
sent
sorry.
the council that MITSC retained was highly effective. It was very firm. I believe I sent you all copies of it, and we have heard nothing back. And so she's been paid, and it would be great to think that's the end of it, but so they never did file suit. So
Who has been paid? Stephanie?
Stacy's firm
Stacy, sorry. Okay, yep, thank you.
did what she said. And actually you did get a good deal because I'm sure it took longer than 2 hours because that was her ordinary rate was like $4.50 an hour.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so
So
no
moving
news is
on.
good news.
No news is good news, right? No, I thought we were gonna have further discussion. I was gonna ask our guests to step out, but we're all set. Thank you.
And we are planning to step out after my presentation.
Well, no, I meant for that particular item, if we had gone into detail. Matagamon, dam alternatives, analysis outreach.
Sounds like me.
Cody. Or who's heading that up here? Bob?
Not me, but I would certainly welcome our special guest. I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, you just turn the floor over to.
Sure,
Mr.
I'll do
Dillingham.
that.
Right, so I have some slides that I've plugged into the computer up at the front. I'll just bring those up real quick. Not on how this thing operates, and I'm sure I remember.
Information down.
I said I turned the camera around so you can see me. I'm sorry for the jump scare. Here I am. And then here. Folks online, are you seeing my slides now?
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes, good morning. I'm Cody Dillingham. I'm the fisheries biologist for the Penobscot Nation. I'm here to talk to you about an alternatives analysis that we've been working on for Matagamon Dam. And we thought about bringing this to you all because Matagamon, Grand Lake Matagamon is MITSC water, and some of the future potential solutions for the problems at this dam have implications for the lake and the resources there. It may change some of your decision making, or you may want to have input. And so we wanted, right now we're sort of midway through the discussion, and we wanted to start bringing in folks as sort of this public outreach campaign. That's why Ramesh is here, our public outreach coordinator, to just see if you wanted to be involved, how you wanted to be involved. If you did want to be involved, we could certainly have, I guess, follow-up conversations about priorities and exactly what that looks like. So this is just an intro to what we have going on, and then we can sort of feel out what you guys all want to do once you know more. So getting into the actual work, for those who aren't familiar, Matagamon Dam is way up here in northern Maine, on Grand Lake Matagamon. It is a privately owned facility owned by the nonprofit Matagamon Lake Association. And it is not a hydropower project, although it did used to support hydropower efforts further downstream. It does not have any turbines of its own. This is part of a grant that we received from NOAA Fisheries. This is a multi-million-dollar grant that does a lot of things, including hiring a new fisheries biologist for the Penobscot Nation. So that's me. So I'm happy about that. It pays for our field technician work. And then it also allows us to do several habitat restoration projects, salmon airstream and dam and ford removals. Those happened last year. Matagamon Dam alternative analysis. We have 2 birch stream bridge replacements that are either happening later this year or will happen next year. And then a stream crossing replacement of Matamuscanis that is happening right now. And so that's very exciting, and that has most of my attention. But we also have money in this grant for survey and design work for 3 upcoming projects that will sort of bookend into the next round of funding that we pursue. So we'll go into the next round of funding with projects lined up, shovel ready. And so we're really happy to have the support from NOAA to do all of this great work and to support future efforts. So went the wrong way there. So anyway, so why are we talking about Matagamon? The biggest thing here is dam safety. This dam is in disrepair. We've got some various pictures here of what it's looked like or what it has looked like recently. And what you're seeing in these pictures is called concrete rot. And it covers most of the surface of this structure. And it permeates through entire walls in some areas. The most severe spots, these areas circled in red, were repaired several years ago to the tune of, I think, $270,000 to replace those. But now basically the entire surface of the dam needs similar work. As you can see, top right here is an image of the fishway. This is an area where the rot permeates pretty much all the way through this wall. Some areas it's a foot thick, some areas it's 8 inches thick, but the concrete rot goes pretty much all the way through, or at least deep enough that in order to repair it, you'd have to replace the whole wall anyway. And so this has this raises stability concerns for the structure, and it has gotten to the extent where Maine Emergency Management Agency and the Federal Emergency Management Agency have come in and provided comments about their concerns for it and are looking to resolve that. So really the biggest driving factor for seeking some sort of resolution for the future of this site is based on that dam safety component. That's also, so as I mentioned, MEMA came in and they've been in the picture for a long time, as they are with all dams, but the conversation really kicked up a notch in 2021 when MEMA reclassified the dam as a high hazard structure. And basically in their definition, high hazard is pointed by this probable loss of life that you see in column 2, that requires the dam to be held to a much higher safety standard than those dams that are significant or low hazard. There's also concern for economic loss, environmental loss, and direct disruption of lifeline facilities, but it is really that loss of human life that is the crux of the conversation for these high hazard structures. And so, like I said, there are higher standards for these structures, and Matagamon currently does not meet those standards. Specifically in MEMA's report from 2021, they mentioned improvements needed to the emergency action plan and downstream assessment of flood risk, food risk on my slides. I must have been hungry when I was writing the slides, but it's flood risk assessment. And so some of those things are on the owner. Well, I guess all of those things are on the owner to resolve. Some of those things have been incorporated into the work that Penobscot Nation is doing on behalf of the owner to help resolve some of these concerns. So the other conversation that's happening is fish passage. So this is where NOAA Fisheries is hooked in, is for Atlantic salmon passage. Atlantic salmon are in the East Branch. The East Branch is a highly important piece of the salmon restoration program in the state and therefore in the country. Fish passage at Matagamon Dam is not good enough for any species. And so we had U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service engineers come out to the site in 2024, and they did an assessment, just a visual assessment of the characteristics of the fishway. They took a bunch of photos, they did surveys at the site, and they came to the conclusions that are on screen here. Basically, the fishway is deficient in every metric: excessive slope, inconsistent pool configurations, inadequate attraction flows, etc. All of these things are what make fish passage easiest. Fishways that do not meet these criteria are characteristically poor at passing fish. And so the recommendations that the service gave was to develop a new fishway that would align with those standards, and incorporating hydraulic performance, structural design, attraction flow, all of these things into the new design to improve fish passage for salmon, but also that would have the ability to pass American eels are a priority species for the service, but in capturing those two species, you get a wide range of other species in there as well. So, so fish passage is a concern that we need to think about. So when we start to think about what can be done to resolve the problem, also I'm just noticing that my side, hope I can that quickly. Go. Sorry about that. So what can be done to fix the problem? That's what Penobscot Nation is studying. For the sake of time, I'm going to just talk about some of the tools we've developed rather than exploring specific results in detail. I'll touch on some, but this is the result of 3 years of work by some of the smartest people in the state. And each of them could come in here and give an hour-long presentation, and they've done that for the Lake Association already. And I'm going to avoid doing that here for the sake of time, but I'll give you the essence of what we've started to work on, and really capping it off with what we have for the alternatives analysis so far, so you can see what we're thinking about. So these components are, yeah.
Will you be able to send us a copy of the slide deck?
Yes,
Slide deck.
absolutely.
Thank you. Or just send it to Jill and she can read it.
Absolutely, I
Thank
can
you.
do that, yeah. And so there's the fluvial geomorphology component. So what does the river look like, and what did it look like historically? What does it look like now? We've got hydrology and hydraulic modeling. So the water, how it moves, and then the physical effect of that water in the system. Habitat suitability model for salmon and brook trout. And then the alternative analysis itself. What are the structural designs that could resolve the concerns that we have with this site? So briefly touching on the fluvial geomorphology assessment. This was performed by John Field at Field Geology Services. And some of the conclusions of their work was that the East Branch was modified for logging practices like most rivers in Maine were. And some of the characteristic telltale features of modified reaches are these, well, hopefully folks online can see my cursor. These sort of channels that are pushed off all to one side of this valley. So on a topographic map, these close lines together indicate steep slope. So we've got steep slope on this side, steep slope on this side, and then there's a wide flat floodplain in the middle. And this reach has been pushed off to one side, whereas we might expect, as it was doing just upstream, flowing from one side to the other, we sort of would expect it to keep doing that, but here it's not. There's also missing meanders. So a meander here at the bottom of this figure, just sort of a half loop that, again, as the channel sort of flows back and forth and kind of finds its way down. We've got one here about this size. And so, you know, you can sort of translate that. So maybe there could have been 3 or even 4 more through the same area, but they're just missing. And then when they go out and they survey the stream bottom, the topography of the channel bottom, it has evidence of modification where it's been deepened, and the banks are very like straight down, almost perpendicular to the bottom, and it's just very evident of logging straightening. And so anyway, so what that results in is reduced habitat complexity, excuse me. Because the whole channel is uniform and it's all sort of the same depth, the same structure, the same substrate, all the big stuff has been cleared out to the side so it doesn't block logs from getting downstream. And it has increased velocity and temperature as a result. And so this is unfavorable for salmon, cold water species. They need those diverse habitats for different life stages as well as for different points in their migration. They need resting pools. They need gravels and cobbles for spawning, and so on and so forth. But all of those features are missing from these straightened channels for the most part. And so, you know, he goes on to conclude that one potential solution would be to add woody debris back to the channel. There are methods for doing this where you anchor woody material into the channel. And that allows the water to slow down and move around and start to reform some of those natural processes, which has found dramatic success, particularly out west. Washington State has this Stage 0 program that has really dramatically restored rivers like this, but on a much larger scale, using similar methods. So that's one thing that could be done to set this right. And John Field is drafting a proposal for a pilot program that could be implemented here, but it won't be implemented as part of this this grant. It would be potential for the future to think about. And then their surveys also recorded stream features that would inform some of the other work that I'll talk about in a moment, the habitat suitability model and the hydraulic and hydrology models. We're using that field data to sort of ground truth and excuse me, inform their analyses. So moving on to the hydraulic and hydrology models, this was performed by Sean Smith here at the university. And this is a pair of models to evaluate flood and storm events. We have spent years developing data types that did not exist for this area before we started. We worked with the USGS to install a new stream gauge in the area. And we've been working on bathymetry. The snowpack stuff is brand new and most models don't even incorporate this, but this is a state-of-the-art model that is like aspirational of, if you could do anything, what would you do? And this is what they've done here. So this is a really great model, and that's evident in their predictive power, which is this graph on the right-hand side. The number there that you see is a measure of the predictive power, how well the model holds up to real observations in the system. And Sean describes it as like, if you get this number up to a 0.7, you're feeling real good about yourself. You can really sleep well at night, that you've done a good job. But this model goes all the way up to 0.9, whereas 1.0 would be perfect. So this is truly a tremendous model. It really reflects the system very, very well, and we're really happy with that. And so what it allows us to do is it allows us to ask questions like, what is the water velocity or the water depth in a reach that is some distance downstream of the dam when discharge at the dam is 250 or 1,000 or 3,500 CFS? And so under each of those conditions in each of these panels here, you know, at 250 CFS, we can say, you know, if we go, you know, a mile downstream, what is the flow velocity when discharge at the dam is 250? We can say, oh, it's 1 to 2 feet CFS. And then as we ramp up the discharge from the dam, that number goes up, and we start to see some areas that the velocity gets really crazy, but it's not a uniform effect through the whole system. So we get to look at stuff like that through this model. It also allows us to ask questions like, what is the lake level or the discharge rate at the dam during storm events, like the 100-year storm or even bigger events? And so these figures here, we've got storage area and CFS, storage area on the top, CFS on the bottom. I was nervous that was my phone. Sorry. And so this can answer some important questions about what happens in the lake, whereas the previous figures allow us to answer questions about what happens in the river. And so now with these two things together, we can look at the whole system. If a change were to be made, or if a storm were to happen, what would the whole system look like? And so this is instrumental to the alternatives analysis, understanding if we change something at the dam, what's going to happen. And so this model allows us to look at that stuff. We also looked at habitat suitability for Atlantic salmon and brook trout. This is done by Justin Stevens at Maine DMR. And so this uses the UMaine model as an input, and then using species known indices for suitability. So like how well a species will be able to survive or spawn or so on and so forth in an area based on these characteristics. We can say, we can ask that question of what percent of the river is highly suitable or not suitable when the dam is discharging 250 cubic feet per second, and so on. And to show you what this figure means, these gray bars sort of cover 50% of all of the reaches in the river, those reaches being the sort of segments of the river in this figure here. So each of these little boxes is one dot on these figures, and the gray boxes cover half of them. And so at 250 CFS, par depth suitability is wide ranging. You've got 50% of the reaches range from not suitable at all at 0, all the way up to basically 0.9, with 1.0 being perfect suitability. So at 250 CFS, there's wide ranging suitability. And then all the way up at 3,500 CFS, 50% of the reaches have 0% suitability. And then these intermediate velocities, you can see the decrease in suitability as the CFS increases. So we're able to ask those questions. And we can also then say, you know, what reach is this? Like which of those boxes is that point right there? And we can start to ask questions about the suitability in specific areas of the river. So then the meat and potatoes of this whole thing is the alternatives analysis then. Again, the solutions or the potential solutions to all of these problems at the dam. And I wanted to have this slide here as like design constraints of what are the things that really need to be considered when we made these designs. And again, it really comes back to that high hazard dam classification and the need to hold or safely discharge the largest flood events. Our engineer likes to talk at this point about the bucket concept for the lake. The largest storm and rainfall events, which is called the inflow design flood, to get technical, those rainfall events need to fit inside your bucket or be passed through your bucket in a safe way. For high hazard dams, this rainfall event standard is called the PMF, or the probable maximum flood, unless you can justify using some other standard through a formal flooding study. I believe I get back to the probable maximum flood later, so I'll skip it for now, but you can think of the bucket as the bottom of the bucket is the lake elevation level when the event happens, when the storm happens. The sides of your bucket are the earth and terrain, so your shoreline, and the top of your bucket is the retaining height of all your associated dams and structures. And there's only really 3 ways to improve capacity of your bucket: is to lower the bottom of your bucket, so lower the lake level before the event hits, raise the top of your bucket, so increase your dam height and all of your other structures, or increase discharge, so drain the bucket faster. Of course, concerns there for downstream flooding, but as far as the dam safety goes, being able to discharge that water is another solution. The bucket from Matagamon are these runaround dams where there's 3 runaround dams right beside the lake. So Matagamon Dam is right here, bottom right. There are 3 runaround dams that support it here. And then there's another runaround dam way up here in the top right corner, up in Big Cove, or it's now known as Deep Cove. And that's an important consideration because these dams are generally about 10 feet shorter than Matagamon Dam. And so a common comment that we receive on this is that, well, the Matagamon Dam is huge. How could it be, you know, the limiting factor for for the flood. Like surely it can hold anything, but it's actually in some cases these runaround dams that is actually the limiting factor here. The top of your bucket is actually those runaround dams, not Matagamma Dam itself. However, improving all 4 of those structures, building them up 10 feet, and the associated work for that would cost tens of millions of dollars. And so we did not explore that option because it just seemed completely unfeasible. But it is technically feasible in the scope of what humanity is capable of, just not what we explored here. So I'll skip the preamble, the rest of the preamble here, and just get into some of the conceptual designs that our engineer came up with. So this was done by John McLean at Acadia Civil Works. We've got 5 conceptual designs. I'll hit some of the big points. There's a lot more detail in the report about these options, but I just want to hit like the big takeaway things that are important, I think, to consider. Concept A is maintaining and repairing the existing dam. So again, most of the surface of the dam needs to be resurfaced, reconstructed. Some areas need to be reconstructed entirely because the damage permeates too deep. And so those repairs plus a new fishway are estimated to cost about $5 million. And some of the effects of that, or to be able to meet the safety standards from MEMA and FEMA, again, here we're lowering the bottom of your bucket. So before a storm hits, the lake level would need to be down 5 feet from where it currently sits on a regular summer day. So you can start to see why we're bringing in folks such as yourselves. We're bringing in the parks and all these other folks of like, you know, who's going to care if the lake level comes down 5 feet, or we'll see some different numbers in a moment, because we think people will care. So we may as well ask. However, this design preserves the current flooding regime. So downstream flooding is not changed at all. Whatever the flooding is now, that's how it is in the future. But this is an active management structure, requires 24/7 attention. So then it needs a person on site 24/7 to be able to respond to changing conditions. If a storm comes through, someone's got to be there to make a change at the gates and make sure that everything is good to go. This is not a popular strategy. Maine is actually one of, I can't remember if it's one of or if it is the last state in the country that allows dams to operate like this when they are high hazard. And so this is a very unique situation right now. But for the time being, we're able to move forward with that. So, but it is an important consideration. Who is that person going to be? There needs to be a backup, and there needs to be a backup to the backup. There can be no opportunity for failure in that chain, and so there needs to be a well-documented plan of who is that person, and then how does that communication go, and so on and so forth for these active management structures. Concept B is also a dam. This is a brand new dam. Tear out the whole old one and build a whole bigger, better dam. Still active management, and this one has big roller gates on it. This is the dam that can do anything you could ever want a dam to do. It is the biggest and best thing that's possible here. But of course, that comes with the extra cost. So you're deconstructing the entire dam. This thing also has a much larger fishway on it. So this is an ice harbor fishway. I won't talk too much about the specifics of fishway design, but this is a all species fishway. Any species that wants to pass this thing will be able to. These pools, I think, are 14 or 16 feet wide. These are gigantic pools on the fishway, and the gates on this thing are crazy. So if you ever need to drain that lake, you can drain it extremely quickly. But it is a bigger and better dam, so it has a bigger price tag. $10 million for this option for the reconstruction and the fishway combined. This would allow the lake level to remain unchanged. Remember, in the previous alternative, the lake level had to come down 5 feet, but this dam is able to discharge water faster than the structure that's there now. And so that discharge, that ability to discharge the water as it comes in allows the lake level at the bottom of your bucket to stay up higher at normal conditions. If the lake level is operated at its current elevation though, you do have to do that draining when an event comes in. And so in those moments, there can be an increase in flooding downstream. But the dam has the option to not keep the lake level where it is now, that you could still drop it 5 feet, you could drop it more, you could do whatever you want with this thing. And then the flooding sort of changes in response to that. If you keep the lake level lower, the flooding risk downstream can also be lower. Still an active management dam, so everything there still stands. But this also maximizes management ability. So like I said, this dam can do anything. If there's something you want to like force to happen in the river, it's something you want to control, this dam can control it. So there's a lot of appealing considerations for this structure because it can do anything you need. Concept C, this is a new dam with passive management. So there's no gates on this thing at all. And I don't know if I have a picture of it, but this is just a concrete slide for the water to go over. And then it's got a vertical slot fishway, similar concept though, that this is an all species fishway. Any fish that wants to pass this thing can. This is a much simpler structure. There's no gates and there's no active management. And it's a smaller structure overall. It's less tall, just smaller. And so the price tag comes down a bit from what we saw just a moment ago. There is still a pretty hefty tag where deconstruction by itself is pretty expensive. So it is still on the expensive side, and the fishways are expensive, but there is room for negotiation. Like right now, these fishways can capture or can pass all species. But if we want to narrow that down to just a couple species, we could actually make some changes to the fishway design to make it smaller, change the pool types, and maybe you could save some money on the fishway designs too. There's room for conversation around all these alternatives. But we started with an all species approach, and so that's what's here, $7 million price tag. Here, lake level comes down 8 feet. But this is in an attempt to keep downstream flooding exactly as it is now. If that is not a priority, if we wanted to increase downstream flooding, or if we wanted to keep the summer lake level up, we could do so at the cost of increasing downstream flooding. In this design, we decided to sort of hit a happy medium to minimize how far down the lake level has to go, but keeping downstream flooding as consistent as possible. But again, there's room for potential negotiation there as needed in the future. No active management means, first of all, the liability here is much lower. You don't have a person at point of failure. You don't actually have a chain of people responsible. That can be appealing for its own reasons. But this 8-foot elevation change returns Grand Lake Metagamon to this historical condition of first and second lakes. And I don't know if I have a slide of it here. I don't. So right now, the Grand Lake Metagamon used to be 2 lakes with a complex wetland system in between. And then when the dam was constructed, well, the original dam, not even this version of it, but the original dam was constructed, that wetland got flooded. And depending on the season, that area is between like 2 and 6 feet deep. And so as you bring the lake level down 8 feet, that area starts to dry out again, that wetland complex comes back, and you've got first and second lake again starting to peak out. Concept D is a nature-like fishway ramp. So there's no dam structure here, but there is an impoundment. So the top of this thing still has a bit of a wall holding back water, so keeping the water level up. But there's no gates. The whole system becomes a fishway. If you've been to Howland Dam, this is a nature-like fishway, like exactly like that, except it's the whole channel rather than the bypass. These are very, very common and very, very effective. Again, all species. Downstream flooding likely would be increased with this condition where we've dropped the lake level 10 feet, again, trying to find a middle ground between those considerations. But downstream flooding could be maintained at its current level if we reduce Summer Lake level further. And so again, there's a conversation that could be had about exactly where those things end up in the final designs. No active management here. And yeah, we're down another 2 feet from that previous design. So we've got those first and second lakes here as well. And then concept E, the last one, and then I'll finish up, is complete removal. I don't think I mentioned the price tag on this one. Concept D, nature like fishway ramp, $5 million price tag, just for clarity. Concept E, full removal, total cost, $1.5 million. So again, this is like what's more or less baked in to all of the other structures where you're removing the existing structure and putting something new. This is just, you don't put anything back, you just remove what's there. We're not entirely locked in yet. We're intending to do bathymetry studies to get a better sense of where the lake level would be. But right now we estimate the lake level would come down 15 feet and the lake level would vary much more with rain and seasons, because there's no structure controlling the flow at all. But there may be ledge or other features upstream just outside the top of this picture. We have reason to believe that there is, but we haven't quantified that yet. So we just assume that it's not there for now. So it's sort of a worst case scenario, 15 feet Summer Lake level decrease. No active management, first and second lake come back again. But we're back to a fully natural condition, no structure, no man-made alternative to nature. This is just, we get down to the natural bottom and leave it there. So next steps is outreach and follow-up studies. That's why we're here today. We're addressing some of the uncertainty and the effects of each of these concepts. Downstream flooding, we're preparing to do a full inflow design flood study to figure out what standard we need to be held to. Again, the probable maximum flood, I guess I didn't describe it, is the probable maximum flood. Our engineer likes to describe it as a biblical storm where the atmosphere can't physically hold any more water, and then it drops it all on the basin, and then the dam has to be able to hold that back, which is obvious. It's not possible. It's not even realistic for anyone to design a structure like that here or really anywhere. And so there's a specific study you do, an inflow design flood study, to sort of talk down the management agencies to a more realistic standard. And so we're going through those motions now. There's uncertainty in fish and wildlife habitat changes. So I talked about decreasing the water level potentially. What does that mean for fish and wildlife habitat? And we've identified a list of species that are important for us to consider in those conversations through our conversation with the Lake Association already, plus pin zone priorities. So salmon, brook trout, lake whitefish, togue, we've got a whole list here. And we're happy to hear any other suggestions from other folks, and that's why we're doing this outreach. Uncertainty in recreation, and uncertainty especially around funding. The $10 million bridge dam that can do anything you want to do is really appealing until you have to actually pay the $10 million. Where's that money coming from? We really don't know. And so we're reaching out to funding sources that we know of to figure out what programs are available or coming up in the next several years, because this is a multi-year process. We're still looking down here. What opportunities are coming up? Is this project appealing to that agency or that NGO or whatever? Trying to get a sense of that now, because it's going to be important. If there's no money on the landscape for a $10 million dam, then maybe we shouldn't be spending any more time talking about that option. But until we know that for sure, we can, keep it on the table. So, so on and so forth for all the other alternatives as well. And so, yeah, we're drafting some studies to start to address those things. We're holding first look conversations with potential project partners this summer, and then public outreach to folks like yourselves to figure out how you want to be involved in the conversation, how you feel you might be affected, how you want to weigh in on the conversation, if at all, so on and so forth. And so from there, it's kind of just an open conversation. I'm happy to take any questions. I think most importantly, I don't even need to leave the meeting today with anything, but I just wanted to put this in your ear of like, this thing's happening. It's on MITSC water. And if you want to be involved, we would love to have you be involved. We would just tell us how you want to be involved, I guess, at this one. So that's the gist of it. 3 years of work and hopefully under, I don't know, 20 minutes or however long that took. I don't know how long it took. I hope it wasn't too long, but that's what I've got. So
Thank you, Cody.
that's what
Yeah, thank you.
You wanna, there you go. Bring our people
I'll
back.
swap back to room view. Nice. I think that's all I needed to do to close out my presentation.
I have a question, Noel.
Yes,
Yeah, Willie one, Cody, for the presentation. I recently accepted a seat on the Squatick River Trust. I'm very new to this whole conversation about dam removal and river restoration and some of the terminology that you mentioned, the nature fishways,
Yeah.
passages and such. But the question that came to mind during your presentation, and I appreciate you presenting to MITSC, is one question as to whether or not within your position for Penobscot, have you entered into conversations with the other tribes that are doing similar work? Such as, for example, Sabayak, in our environmental department.
So we talk with the other tribes on a pretty regular basis. We used to meet quarterly, actually. It's kind of slipped under the radar this week or this year. We've been trying to figure out actually where we left that. So we used to have these fisheries summits. We call them water resources teams and fisheries teams from each of the tribes. We get together on a quarterly basis to talk about projects like this and brainstorm and lessons learned and seeking advice and that sort of stuff. So yes, we've been talking with them more generally about dam removal. We haven't talked specifically about this project too much in those groups, mostly because it was hard to talk about until we had this draft alternatives analysis in hand, and we kind of just got that in the last couple months. And then, like I said, we haven't had one of those meetings yet this year. So not too much specific detail between the tribes on this specific project, but yes, more generally.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for your response. And I would certainly encourage you to, if your time allows, to revisit those quarterly meetings with the other tribal departments doing similar work. As a former tribal education director, we had quarterly meetings with all the program directors from the various tribal government locations, and we found that to be very effective. So I do hope that you guys can reconvene and have these types of discussions moving forward. But thank you, Willie one.
Cody, just so you'll know, we're listening. That is too much information for us to even begin a dialogue. But I sense you've been sent in on a mission to go explain the whole project to an entity of uncertain scope and jurisdiction. Your time has been well spent because we do have jurisdiction to report to the legislature and report to the tribes on anything that affects the relationship between the state and the tribes. And we have particular interest in fisheries regulation. So although we don't yet know where we're coming from, we do need to know about the pendency of this study. We appreciate your outreach.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, I was hoping Don Dudley was be able to be here. He's the the dam operator and one of the founders of the Matagamon Lake Association. I didn't feel like I wanted to speak to this because I'm on the Mattagamut Dam Association, one of the founding members, and Don has a lot of insight. He's been there since 1972. And there's a bit of discussion to be had as the association has started to move forward, and the two concept D and E have been I don't want to say dismissed, but they're at the bottom of the list right now. We met with FEMA or NOAA last month in Orono, and we still have a couple of alternatives, some to look at, and it's a process. So we'll see where we go.
Yeah, it's an ongoing conversation. In our conversation earlier, initially in May, I had laid out a schedule of trying to answer most of these questions by the end of the summer. And through that conversation, through follow-up conversations with the Lake Association, with other partners, it became very clear that that was too short of a timeline to chase all those lingering questions as I laid out those other studies that we're doing and everything. So it is going to be a longer conversation, and we are trying to get all those questions resolved and trying to find the best option for everybody. So absolutely, it'll be an ongoing process for a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So, are other folks still on? Okay, anybody else have questions online? Well, if not, we certainly will take a look at it and have further discussion here. Appreciate your time.
Just trying to get here in a year, so thanks for listening.
Yeah, that's a 2-for-1, Cody. You got the dam owners, the association, as well as MITSC.
You want us all to clear the room? Should we?
No, you don't have to. It's up to you.
As long as
Okay.
Yeah.
I do need to be back in the office by noon.
To
So.
executive session or
Okay.
anything.
All right, we can stick around until.
We'll kick you out if we need to.
Okay.
All right, MITSC financial report. Jill.
Mike's off.
Jill, you're muted. Yeah.
Still muted.
See, my brain is still not working right. Just trying to share some documents with you. Recent. So what I would have sent you, and I thought I maybe had sent you, was a overall view of what we have in terms of all the grants and our general budget. And it's somewhat, it doesn't really reflect what the true financial situation is, because we moved from what do you call it? Cash-based accounting to accrual accounting. So a lot of our money is still being held by Cobscook. And we were just fortunate that we had a surplus in our general or we had not necessarily surplus, but we had some money in the general that could cover the expenses in the grants. So the Sewell grant in particular has been fully spent, and that's the one that's that we did the audio book with, and we expanded the library. What else did we do? And we did the communications plan. So that should be fully expended. We did have to pitch in a little bit of money from the general funds to particularly on John's contract to cover that, but generally that was pretty well taken care of. The Broad Reach Fund is what is funding the cultural competency course, which you're calling strengthening relationships with Wabanaki nations, and that we really didn't spend much money yet. The big expenditures are coming up soon, as we are going to be presenting that on October 27th, I believe. And then I did send you late in the day a budget for this year. And I wanted to see if it was possible for us to possibly do cost of living raises, because I haven't gotten one since I started 3 years ago, and Rachel hasn't gotten one for the last 2 years. The other piece was that we didn't have any kind of, and this is more for Rachel, not myself. We didn't have a retirement plan. And so these are some of the benefits that MITSC employees would have had if they were treated as state employees. So still missing life insurance and disability. And I think they have a health savings plan. So the proposed budget I sent out late yesterday is for the general funds. And so that shows that we've got more than enough money to cover that. Some of the savings that we realized were from changing bookkeepers, because this is quite a lot less expensive, from using Pat to going with Vicky. Problem is Vicky is very busy, and so I was having a little bit difficulty getting in contact with her. June 30th was a big tax deadline for businesses, I guess. So I would have liked to talk to her about doing a better job of showing the accrued income as income. So it just looks like we've got big zeros and deficits, but we actually have a lot of money still. What do I have here? What I can tell you is our balances in the Bangor Savings Bank, we did get our distribution for this year, the $268,500. So in our savings, we have $200,409, $200,049, $60.33, and then we have $83,000 roughly in our banking, our checking account there, and at MITSC Savings, which we don't use as much because it doesn't earn interest on the checking, and we also get charged for every bill pay. There's $15,000 in there, as well as $25,000 in the savings. So that's a better picture of where we're at, in really good shape financially. It's just a question of, and I did ask Vicky for copies of what she submitted to COPSCOOP for reimbursement. She said she did do that. And when somebody's not your employee, they seem like they're less responsive. Like they don't think to, oh, maybe I should send this off to Jill or someone like that. Whereas Pat was really good about communicating everything. So I did ask her for that, but she said she would get it to me yesterday, and she didn't. So I will send that to you when I get it. And I can also send you the full overview of all of the funds we have. But again, keep in mind that we have money that's to come to us, basically accounts receivable, that aren't reflected there. I had one accounting class, but I know enough about that to know how it should show up on the pages. So sorry that this is not more thorough, I guess.
Jill?
Yes.
I'm looking at what's been numbered our page 39 of 39, the general fund appropriations, and where you've highlighted our commission, I see the numbers, $537,000. Is that a 2-year figure?
Yes, that's the biennial budget.
Okay, I don't have your attention to detail, but in round numbers, I think that this is like a $280,000 a year operation. So when I saw the 530, simple question,
Right.
simple answer. Thank you.
Right. I think actually the point of putting that in there was to show that the Permanent Commission on the Status of Racial, Indigenous, and Tribal Populations is significantly better funded. They have over $2.5 million for 2 years, and they have 7 employees. And I'm not sure what their how many statutory mandates they have. I think MITSC has a lot more that it's required to do by statute. So when it comes to advocating for MITSC in 2027, I don't necessarily want to throw them under the bus, but I think it's a helpful comparison to show the difference in funding. So I will send you the full spreadsheet, and then I'll also get Vicky to do the view where it shows the outstanding grant money as accounts receivable.
So Jill, I have one question, is that, so you said Cobscook is still holding some of the funds?
Yes, and Vicky said she submitted, we have to submit invoices to them with copies of what we've spent, and then they reimburse us. And so she said that's been done. That's what Pat was helping her with, and going through all the records and making sure things were being assigned to grants as opposed to our general funds. And so that's been submitted. And like I said, she's
Is that inhibiting your daily process?
no, not at all. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just really fortunate that there was carryover when we started all this. It's a terrible process, this
Right.
fiscal sponsorship. You
Yeah,
have to have money to make money.
all right. And so the other point you made, in terms of like employee benefits and things like that, raises, is that something that you have formulated, written down and could submit to us? I mean, I think that's
did,
really,
yeah. Mhm.
okay,
It was a separate attachment I sent last night.
okay.
Yeah, Rachel, I don't know, maybe you can show some of this on your screen because I'm just having trouble with sharing. It was what I sent out yesterday is what the budget would be for this year.
Oh, it's not in the meeting materials?
No, it was a separate email.
Hold on just a second.
And I don't have printed copies, so I'm trying to navigate between my computer and.
Asking if she can show
Are,
that.
are we still on agenda item number 6 as far as the financial report? Are we moving into
Yes,
number 7?
6.
We're still on
6.
6. Okay, I'll
Okay.
hold my questions then for number 7.
Right. So
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Bye, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jill, what was the subject of that email you're talking about?
it says private for commissioners eyes only.
That's the subject?
Yes.
On it? I'm not seeing that. I wonder, maybe I
Forwarded
wasn't.
to right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know.
That yesterday.
Yeah. Rachel's not on the list.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I got it,
No.
so if she forwards it, I'll be able to share it, but.
Unfortunately, I've got
And what's in that document, Jill, that you'd like to share?
It is a cover memo and the budget for this year.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. All right, Joey got it to me, Jill, so.
Okay, thanks.
Mine's so private that it's actually redacted most of it. I'm joking.
And I don't know if it's private because you can actually look up and see what any state worker makes. And that's the only reason why I said that. It's not necessarily confidential, but. And then I didn't want to get Rachel's hopes up, letting her know that I was going to ask for a cost of living raise.
So if I share this, though, you're comfortable, it's gonna be on the YouTube live stream and everything?
Yeah, it's fine. It's going to be public information anyway.
Okay. All right, can everyone see that?
Mhm.
And then do you want me to scroll to this next pages?
Maybe just, can we go back for a second?
Yep.
So I think, yeah, this is basically saying where the savings were from. And that it doesn't, the general funds budget, this is just, if we just deal with the 268,000, and then if we do get the tribal contributions, what our bare bones budget would look like. And then how we ended up being able to accomplish this through different kinds of savings. A big one was not paying rent and utilities to the Cops Cook Institute anymore. And justifying that we have the money to cover a 6% salary increase and to offer a simple IRA retirement plan, which is with a defined contribution of 3% of salary. We're not eligible for the state's retirement plan for the same reason we weren't eligible for the health plan by matter of statutory language. There's also something about vesting in there. So definitely we would not be able to comply with that. So, but we're getting a little bit closer to their benefits. And then I was also hoping to hire a temporary worker or two to assist us with the logistics for the strengthening relationships with Wabanaki Nations training, because it's awfully hard to be a trainer and then also monitoring the registration desk and making sure there's enough cookies and such. So just having another person there to help be a runner during that day. And then we could really use some help with those, 80 odd boxes of MITSC papers. And we have a rubric of things that need to be archived, and having just someone go through, they don't have to be legally trained or anything, they just need to follow that rubric and, basically trying to segregate what doesn't need to go there. There's a lot of copies of books and articles from other entities that are really not part of MITSC's archives, things we've produced. So I would like to see if I can find somebody to help us do that, because it's just very labor intensive. And doesn't need our skill level to do that at this point. And then we would review what they segregate out. Then we would look at that. Rachel and I. Okay. Yeah, Rachel, we can move down now. So there's like basically the bare bones income that we would have, and not counting in the carryover from this year, and then the fees and such. Nothing too crazy. Might have to adjust this a little bit if we start getting more commissioners. Like if the state seats are filled, if Mi'kmaq joins, and then we have a corresponding number of state commissioners added as well. So we could be looking at 6 more state commissioners, I think. But I think we can absorb that. And that's wholly separate and apart from the grant funds, which we are really using to fund special projects. at some point, one of the things I may argue to the legislature and the governor's office for is these fishing rules, the, promulgation of it, the enforcement of it, even just posting the lands. That is really more than a full-time job, I think. We're not, inland fish and wildlife. So for MITSC to be, required to do that, we need, human resources to do that.
We got Bob C.
No, she wants human resources.
Good volunteers.
Are you ready for questions, Noel?
Hold on, yeah, I'll just want to go back to Jill and say, so what, is there something in here you wanted to highlight in terms of like, so with this budget is this a proposed budget, actually?
Yes.
I'll ask that, okay.
For
And
this
would
year,
this-
yeah.
And would that include taking care of employees as well?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
cost of
thank-
living.
Yeah,
I
thank
agree.
you.
Well,
Anybody have any questions on these particular documents, proposed budget for MITSC?
What's your question, Noel?
So Jill just showed us, or is showing us the proposed budget that she wants to move forward, which includes a number of different things, but do you have any questions on what's being presented as of right now?
Willie Wynn, that's what I was waiting for you. Just based on Jill's presentation, Willie Wynn, I'm just got a number of questions and notes that I just put in my, as you were speaking, and not only on this cover sheet, but I'm kind of potentially hearing, correct me if necessary, any concerns. Are you okay with the fiscal sponsorship? Okay, meaning, or should it be another conversation with the commission in changing or looking at, the process of fiscal sponsorship and the way that it is set up right now and what it could potentially be? I'm just asking if there's a conversation needed there. And then if you could remind me, did Pat retire? And this is why we went with or was it location? Why we went with a new bookkeeper? And I hope that relationship develops so that it's more timely for you, Jill, when you have to present, information to the commission. The temporary hires, as you suggested in your summary letter, I'm hearing maybe a couple, for a, just to do the training, very, very temporary there, right? And then
Yes.
do the boxes that need to be combed through. That seems pretty temporary. I would question what it might look like, to have an individual come in and update the fishing rules and the posting on our lands. But I would raise the question of whether or not we explored the possibility of having college interns come in, and maybe college students that might be interested in serving as interns. Did I frame that correctly? Basically, would we give consideration to students that are on summer break or are studying and maybe looking for a temporary placement? Has MITSC ever had like a line item that supported, students on break where they could come in? And why am I thinking Paul Tebow, that we had one with Paul back in the day?
Because we did.
So can we explore that conversation sometime?
Okay. Well, do you have any more questions so I can answer them?
Go ahead, Jill.
With regard to the fiscal sponsorship, Cobscook Institute, has been fine. It's more on our end and not submitting invoices to them. I mean,
Oh.
their bookkeeper is busy, and so she said, she's kind of slammed because it was the end of their fiscal year. So, but if we're not sending them anything, then they can't send us money. So we need to straighten our end out. And then I don't know, Rachel, if you mentioned it to me, that Rafi mentioned it to you, that there may be an entity that is a fiscal sponsor and doesn't charge us for that. But I don't know who that is and haven't had a chance to look into it. But anyway, that's something to look at in the future. But right now, I don't plan on it applying for any more grants. Just kind of want to wrap up what we've got before we do anything further. And then with regard to Pat, she had retired from her regular work, but she just became overwhelmed because we went from having one fund to 5. And the idea of segregating and setting up, new accounts and what gets charged to what, just became too much. And then she went from the desktop to the online, and she hated the online even really before we started working with it. And Vicky was very familiar with the online, but one of the problems was that we were set up as a cash basis entity, and we needed to switch over to accrual. And so that took a little while. And then the fact that so many of the expenses that should have been billed to the grants, Pat just billed to our general fund. And so now that had to get untangled. So yeah, it's probably, Pat was a delight to work with when it was just the one fund, but it was a lot for her to take on. And I had even paid to have her coached, access to coaching services. And we'd get on these calls and she'd say, it's just so confusing. It's so different from, what I was doing before. And I'm like, oh, well, this is not helpful. But, she tried her best. She really tried her best. She has a, good heart. So she did get done. And I think with Vicky, I have not had time to go and sit down with her and say, okay, let's get this straightened out. But I hope to, maybe by August, in the middle of August. Oh, and okay, with regard to interns, actually, Teresa Singh, she was an intern. And we did pay her a little bit. Most of her salary was paid by Columbia University as a fellowship. And then we also had, I'm sorry, what's her name? Help me out, Rachel. From University of, what's that?
Katie Gonlin helped.
Right, Katie Gonlin. She was more of a volunteer. Excuse me. Yeah, if we could get them, interns, that would be great. Maybe we could find a connection on the faculty there. Darren.
Happy to. We have a very good. We have a very good list and communication with Native students, of course. We've improved it since we sent out postcards to the tribes about 15 years ago. Or whoever was running the list didn't know Rena's last name, but we've
Here we go.
much improved since then. So yeah, happy to communicate this. And we have other programs too that we run, UMaine and UMaine Machias too. And Newell can help as the elder in residence at UMaine Machias.
Ah, there you go.
Right. But, sometimes it's done through a work study program, and I don't know how, we navigate that, but.
Yeah, we can figure it out. It's generally our students don't qualify for work study because of the waiver, but we can figure it out. It's not a big deal.
Whatever you say, boss.
So.
I say yes.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Was that it?
I think that was it, unless we're doing something else here. And if not, have you talked about the biennium?
Oh, no, we might want to do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Biennium process, item 7.
Right.
And I'll just interject, so Rena, did you have other questions?
I think my only other question, Noel, would be whether or not Jill would be needing individual motions for the salary increases, or is it just blanket if we approve the budget?
I think it would be included in the budget if we know it's there and we would approve.
Okay, Balloon?
So with regard to the budgetary process, those of you who've been on the commission longer, have you gone through this before? Because I went through the statute, and this is what I think we would have to do, is it would start with, like, me presenting a biennial budget. And all of that has to be in by July of 2027. So I have to back up to it. So maybe even starting even earlier than March, I would propose a budget to you, and then you would adopt a proposal. Then you'd send your proposal to the tribal chiefs, and then the two groups are supposed to meet and adopt a joint proposal. And then the chiefs and the governor are supposed to communicate and produce a budget and propose, any funding adjustments. But after that's all done, the governor can still submit a budget that differs from the MITSC budget, but just has to submit a report to the judiciary explaining why her legislation differs from, or his or her legislation differs from the proposal. And has MITSC gone through all that recently? Bob, do you remember going through this?
No, frankly, I seem to recall that Paul ran the whole thing with the budget. I don't recall that we've executed on the requirement in the statute that we have meetings between the governor and the chiefs apart from the budget issue, much less this detailed attention to the budget. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I don't know if they're supposed to have under the collaboration statute an annual meeting with the chiefs are supposed to meet annually with the governor.
I think there was
I don't
supposed to be, I think there was supposed to be a meeting even before the collaboration statute.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know the timing of that, if that would work. But so we'll be working with a new governor, so we'll probably have to get on this pretty quick. So I think staffing is an issue, and Rachel, you can chime in if you think so as well, but you've got a lot of different responsibilities and really not enough time. Spread really thin. But I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Like your enterprise study, Bob, not enough people to pick that up and run with it.
Well, that's a subject of its own. Right now, that has stalled because I haven't followed through on your communication to the chiefs seeking their, if not their permission, their okay to begin the study. I'll be in touch with all the commissioners by email soon.
Right. Okay, so early 2027 is when we should start budgeting for the next biennium. And do you need anything else on that?
No, I don't think so. Unless anyone else had any other questions. Rena?
Namat Noel. I'm good. Willie one.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I think we're doing pretty good.
In time for lunch.
Yes.
Bert's got a question. He's raising his hand.
Bert? Oh, there's Bert.
I'm moving the camera.
Did you have a comment?
Oh,
Comment, Bert?
yeah, just I don't know where this fits in, but I was just thinking as this discussion was going on, is that, it kind of highlights the need for more personnel. And I think, I like the idea of, internships or whatever, whatever it was called, but, I do think that we are in a situation where we have to give serious thought of, finding, at least another employee, a full-time employee for our staff there, because, I agree with Jill. Rachel's been handling a lot of stuff. And it's a lot for one person, but I'm not discounting Jill's efforts either, because she's been busy. But I think, in respect to both of them, and to the commission itself, we really need to give serious thought about that. I know, a lot of it's going to be determined by the budget that we have, and what budget we might have in the future. But I think for the interim, we can, really give serious thought, to bring in, some intern or whatever we might call them. So I just thought I'd throw that in, because that thought kept going through my head as the discussion was going on.
Lewin? Yes, well, we definitely will take that into consideration for sure. Are you looking for a job?
I'm not allowed to have a job. The VA says I'm not allowed to work a job.
All right. So any questions before we break for lunch?
Did we ever get a motion or a vote on this year's budget? Did we talk? We talked about that, right?
We did?
Didn't do no motion, no.
We did not do, what item number was that, Jill?
Well, really, 6.
6?
Yep. And 7, 6 and 7 kind of crosses both of them.
6, 7?
6, 7.
Oops. I don't know what that means. I hear it all the time.
No, I still don't know what it means.
I'm too old to know what it means, apparently.
Bring a teenager in here to explain it to us.
Yeah, I need one.
I just turned 6'8", so I'm good now.
Holy.
Oh,
Just a pup, just a pup, just a pup.
right.
So Jill, okay, so do we, would you like to have a motion to approve the MITSC financial report and the 2027 FY 2027-29 biennium budgeting process?
More like the FY 2007 general operating budget. Let's get that approved.
27.
2027?
Yes. That goes from July of 2026 to June of
I
2027.
think Joe heard you. I don't know if he wants to make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
The 27, not 2007, 27.
Okay, a
Sorry,
motion.
Who is the second?
Motion's been made by Joe to approve the 2027 financial budget
Bob,
and seconded by Bob C. Okay, sorry.
I'm looking at you.
Any questions on the motion? Any comments? I know we have 3 offline, or not pictured anyway. Sam, Ezekiel, and Darren, and
Bert,
No objection.
Bert's on the picture.
he's pointing at himself again.
Did you have a question, Bert?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, so sorry. Okay.
Got it.
All right, so All in favor? Yes, yes, yes.
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 Go. Alright, Sam. Darren. Ezekiel.
Oh. Have an emoji.
There's a thumbs up from Lee.
I count, I count thumbs up here.
All right, so hearing no objections, we'll pass that agenda item.
Thank you.
Financial budget for 2027.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, have a good lunch.
How long are we breaking?
24 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna get Carol to just make sure the room gets muted properly for lunch for the live stream, but we'll leave it running.
Okay,
Newell,
yeah.
just an agenda check. What do you have after lunch?
Items 8 and 9.
Oh, okay. All right.
Turn the page.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We
I
had
had-
to mix it.
I just had to scroll down to see.
Fishing
Fishing-
rules.
Fishing
Fishing
rules.
rules and executive director's project, and the project coordinator's progress reports.
There's another page. So if you turn it over, did you get a second page?
And go through item 14.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we kind of
Okay.
covered 12. We covered 12 already.
All right. Restoration.
Ahead of schedule.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna try to join you in how many minutes? 21 minutes?
23.
23 minutes. I'm gonna
22.
try to join you in 23 minutes. I'm gonna run down to another office and see where we are in submitting a grant, okay?
All right, see you soon.
Willie one?
I'm gonna go find Carol, but there's 3 roast beef paninis and 3 turkey paninis, so.
Thank you.
Hopefully that's enough variety for you guys.
I still haven't figured out what a panini is.
I mean,
It doesn't sound right.
tastes pretty good though.
Let gets it home.
Me? I got a son that lives with, there's another kid, he's 30.
John, they're eating while they're hot.
Which?
The ones that say burden are the roast beef and the ones that have little bird drawn on them is the turkey.
Oh, I get it now. Be on the view.
Ah.
I knew, anyway, Joe, I was telling you about that, what's his name? Meredith, Monday Night Football. I was watching a game one night. And, they, they pan the crowd sometimes.
Yeah.
And they pan on this, woman in the audience. And they, she's nice looking. And then you can see her go like this. And Don Meredith says, "Oh, it's so pretty too." Live TV.
Jill, can you hear us again?
I can. Yes.
Okay, all right, we should be all good to go then.
And everybody else is still on? That's weird, you can't see them up there, even if they're.
It's impressive.
Just turned
Wow.
years old.
Oh,
I'll be over 20 Sarah's house.
wow.
Oh, Bob, check away, is up.
I won't take Nels, thank you. It's amazing how much
Oh,
is not controlled by the government.
wow.
Yeah, and we've always worked with, all the different government agencies. I was part of that.
Reader's on.
Wow. Jeez.
4 years old. So it's bad.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Jill, so Rachel asked, everyone else is, how come we don't see them even if they're muted?
If their cameras are off, for whatever reason, they don't show
Oh,
up
okay.
on this screen.
So we're back in session. And we have MITSC fishing rules amendments. Mr. Checkowitz, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do try to keep the commissioners posted from time to time as developments warrant. So I try not to take up much space on our busy agendas. But in case anybody on the live stream is watching, following this, background is that MITSC has jurisdiction to regulate fishing on what we loosely call boundary waters, which are those that separate or join or abut both tribal and non-tribal properties. We have not updated our fishing rules since at least 2002. When I started agitating for this process a couple of years ago, I underestimated the amount of everything involved, partly. Sorry, let me take a break here. We have been cooperating and coordinating the various tribal fisheries managers and people at Inland Fish and Wildlife. We've had a couple of hybrid meetings, and the discussions got to the point where it was time to agree on where the boundary lines are. The tribes have acquired large tracts of land, which include large tracts of water since we last acted in 2002. And the project for some months now has been at the step where we are trying to get, excuse me, the mapping information updated so that everybody knows where the boundaries are and which waters fall on which side of the line, which are within MITSC jurisdiction. Mapping these days is done by GIS, whatever that stands for, instead of on old-fashioned paper maps. The various tribal resource managers have supplied to Jared Parker at Inland Fish and Wildlife their electronic digital data on the current boundaries, and we're and Jared Parker has responded back to them in a format that's not accessible to me anyway, or at least I haven't figured out how to open it. And John Sewell at Methakmakuk supplied us with a couple of map images showing discrepancies between where they thought the boundary was and where IF&W thought the boundary was after that exchange of digital information. And we just need to get the IF&W and the tribal managers to reconcile where the boundaries are. I did hear from Sam St. John within the last week or so that they had reviewed the information and apparently they've reconciled the boundaries. I guess they have less of a footprint to keep track of than the other tribes, but we're still in the process of trying to get the Passamaquoddy and Penobscot biologist managers to settle on the boundary lines that will then determine which waters, if any, MITSC will act to regulate. Again, for anybody who's on the live stream, the general statutory rule is unless MITSC acts to regulate in boundary waters, whatever the state rule book says holds. If the commission acts, we can override state rules to promulgate our own. And that's what we're headed toward. Once we settle on where the boundaries are, we can determine which waters we have jurisdiction on, and then we have to get the tribal resource managers to elect where they want us to override state rules. There had been greater time pressure on this earlier when we'd been hoping to sort of publish jointly MITSC's booklet with the state booklet. It's now become apparent that we're not going to be able to publish jointly, so we don't have to be on the state's publication deadline. They affect new rules January 1 of each year. Although obviously we don't want to get too far behind them because we don't want to be more than a year behind them in the new rules. That's all by way of saying we're not facing an immediate deadline, but we want to come into step with the state publication process at some point. In any event, I'll be in touch with the usual mailing list for this project probably in the coming week. If we have to, we'll convene another meeting probably in Augusta. And we won't have to do that if we can get everybody to look at the GIS mapping information and reconcile the boundaries without a meeting. Sorry, are there questions on that? Yes, there are lots of questions.
So there is a process going forward to have another meeting with the tribal and the regional biologists, not just Jared, but regional and tribal.
Yeah, we don't yet have a committee of the whole meeting scheduled yet. I was hoping that we could just reconcile the mapping boundaries separately, and then we would meet again to discuss the substantive rules. So we need to get the map lines agreed on before we get to the real business of fisheries management. And we may yet have to have another meeting just to settle on the boundaries, but that's where the hurdle is right now.
Because I don't think there's, just going back to when I was still working, we never had any disputes or, when we'd sit down with either the Penobscot or Passamaquoddy, we'd look at the data and say, yep, we were always in agreement. And I think that's, I don't think that's changed.
I don't either.
As long as you have that process of meeting face to face. Right now, it sounds like the difference of opinion, or is just between where the boundaries.
That's it. We
I
just
can
on,
speak to that, Bob, if you want.
please.
No, it's more of like a technical issue than an opinion one. Just the way the different mapping projections are. Sometimes that can cause a little bit of variation in boundary lines, and so it's like more of a metadata issue than an opinion type.
Sam, have you been able to decode whatever it is that came back from IFMW to check and make sure that everybody's got this, that we're playing with the same information on the mapping?
I know we do. We can speak to the charts, but yeah, I know that it's like who knows? It may just be because we don't have that much land that the issue gets resolved a little more quickly. But yeah, more just like technical issue. And so I mean, I'm not gonna like make any predictions on how quick it should be going, but I know we got it done pretty fairly quickly.
I'm sorry, Sam, I didn't quite follow that. Or have we agreed on the GIS mapping data? Do we know where the boundaries are?
Yeah, and so like in general, the lines are in the same relative area, but just based on different sort of mapping projections that that can be separately chosen defaults based on what program you use to collect your data or stuff like that. That's a discrepancy that we run into, and obviously we want to get everything as everybody see the same information for purposes of changing, if we're going to change anything. So, but there's a couple different projection settings and stuff like that. So sometimes some people use that. I know for a while work we did with over in Canada, they were using a different I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, like it's not so much a giant issue of our differentiating opinion, more of like, oh, we gotta like make sure we're both looking at the same thing. If that helps.
Thank you, Sam. I'm beginning to think we need a meeting just to figure out where we're at. And I will try to work with Jill and put that together.
Sure, Rachel can help.
Yeah, look good.
I'll look forward to working with you.
Okay.
Volunteered, I heard her.
Well, we just added another 8,000 acres in the Jackman area. Hasn't been turned into trust yet, but it's in the process.
Wow.
So that'll be a significant length of the South Branch of Penobscot that goes towards Cannon Fall.
Wow.
How recent was this?
Purchased it last year from carriers. So it's a section where we would be on tribal land, go on state land, get back on tribal. That section in between, it's gonna be all trust land in the next couple of years.
And what do you call the property or the area?
It's off the Kelly Dam Road. It's part of, I don't know if it's Hammond or Alderbrook Township. Let's see if I can find it. But it was purchased last year. But it's in the process, but the federal process takes time.
You mean the trust process?
Yeah.
At least we know where it is.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Hammond, Alderbrook. It's a little of both. It's if I can get that information from John, who's in Colorado right now fighting fires.
Oh, he does that every summer.
And there's like 12 or 14 of them from our community that went, so he was one of them. So yeah, I'll get that information to you, but it's not trust right now, it's fee land. We did purchase it.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any more questions, I should say? Yep.
Well, there's an item on the agenda a little bit later, but it might be better to talk about it here. I got a call about fishing on Mary Patooch Pond. And I couldn't remember, and the person on the phone seemed to think it was wholly tribal. And then I couldn't remember because I remember there was a debate about it, and I'm not sure that it came in at 9.997 acres, so just under the 10 acres. And if there was a debate about that. And so then I was thinking, here we are splitting hairs over whether it's 10 acres or not. And so I wondered if it's a possibility of restoring jurisdiction over the 10-acre ponds to the tribes. Would there be some sense to that? It seems paternalistic to say you can control 10-acre, 9-acre ponds within your territory, but not 10-acre ponds.
So that's on the agenda?
Yeah, it's on 11, I'm sorry, 11, number 3. And that's just my idea. Didn't come from anywhere else except kind of flows from my whole, like, what's so magical about 10 acres. And it's from that colonial notion that was carried over into Maine law about everyone having access to 10-acre ponds.
Yeah, Jill, I think this is a case of, what do they call it, independent discovery or something. It dawned on me as I was slogging through this, that what do we have a whole separate commission regulating fisheries management on 10-acre ponds? We could just
That close to 10 acres.
give that back to tribal management.
In Brazil.
As I understand things, the public would still have access to ponds over 10 acres under the old colonial ordinance, but instead of MITSC regulating the take, the size of bag limits, the tribes would regulate that. And I wholly agree.
Okay, that was all I had. And Joey, do you know Mary Patooch Pond is less than 10 acres?
Say that again?
Is Mary Patooch Pond less than 10 acres?
Well, I just looked and I cannot get a number, but I'll talk to John. I don't know 100%. It obviously is completely enclosed in tribal land. It's in Prentice Township,
Right.
so. But it's close. Nels and I just looked at it and neither one of us it won't tell us on there how big the pond is.
Yep. Jimmy, Jill, I think at one point in the history of this, both IF&W, excuse me, and the tribe agreed that it was just under 10 acres. And then I think perhaps with the GIS exchange of information, we got a spreadsheet that showed it back just over 10 acres. But we haven't lost track of it. The honest answer to your caller is we're honestly not sure who has fishing regulation over that, but they should follow the state general laws for now.
Did I get back to him?
It is all
With that?
wetland.
That's all around. Sometimes it's full, sometimes.
Depends on when you measure.
Absolutely.
I guess we're done with that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jill. And we're gonna move on to the item 9. MITSC Executive Director and Projects Coordinator Program Reports.
It's pretty completely laid out in your materials starting at page 20.
Yep.
And I don't want to repeat things that maybe I talked about in the April meeting. So let me know if you've already heard this. But so I spend, a lot of my time doing administrative matters like drafting resolutions and circulating them. And thank you to Bob Checkaway for helping with all the banking paperwork that had to go back and forth. The Wabanaki Cultural Competency Training, which was renamed to the Strengthening Wabanaki Relationships with Wabanaki Nations, is moving along. We do have a website now, and we sent out notice of the training with a link for registration. And we thought about it because we can only have 50 people for, purposes of what's the easiest number to teach. And we thought, well, wait a minute, maybe we should just reach out to the tribal liaisons, and there's like 17 of them. And then maybe they should bring 2 people from their departments, and that's where we maybe should start, because those are the people who are responsible for implementing the act. So I did send a letter to them asking them to, register, and then also to encourage a couple other people from their department to register. So you have to follow up on that, because I'm not sure, Rachel, do we have like 20 people maybe registered at this point?
I haven't
So
looked at the
yeah.
spreadsheet recently.
So
I could probably.
So we need to do outreach, because October seems like it's a long way away maybe to people. But just to let them know it's around, not that far out. What else? So we did get our arms around this course. It could be an entire semester, so it's been challenging trying to get our arms around it and figure out what are the most essential things to touch on, but also how do we do it in an engaging way? Because you could do, you don't want to do PowerPoint after PowerPoint. So we finally did hammer out an outline, and so that's included in your materials, and then kind of a short outline just for an overview for participants, and that will be up on the webpage. What else? The videos are coming along, and maybe Rachel can talk about that. You've been working on.
That's probably my number one focus right now, because it's a lot of work to get done by October. But we are working on the 5 tribal community videos that are like mini tours of the communities. And so far we've filmed the one at Zabayik, and we have dates scheduled with Penobscot Nation and Madakmiguk, and still scheduling with HBMI and Mi'kmaq Nation. So, but yeah, I feel like that the filming is just the tip of the iceberg in video work, because the majority of it then comes with editing, especially when we're trying to pack a lot of material into a very concise video for each one.
And the meetings with the cultural advisors are coming along. It's kind of interesting, because there's one tribe where the tribal members, when you say, we've been suggested to serve in this role, they're like thrilled. They're like, oh, I'm so honored, thank you, and yes, I can't wait to do it. And then other tribes, tribal members are like, I don't feel qualified to do this. So it's been a little challenging getting that 4 slots filled in. So we did start with Penobscot, and Bert was good enough to join the other 2 advisors we have, Nina and Carol. And I'm still trying to I've reached out to them numerous times, James Francis and Gabe Paul. And so I'm hoping to get them on board. So we had a meeting planned, but one of the people got sick, so it's been postponed to July 23rd. And then once I get that under my belt, see how it goes, I'll be reaching out to the other tribes to schedule with them. And then kind of looking down the line, I've been kind of playing phone tag with Ariel Ricci of the Permanent Commission, because she has some funding and is working with another entity that might take the videotape of this session and turn it into an actual webinar. And then I guess I'm moving kind of on with other things. So I talked about everybody. We've gotten people enrolled in the insurance, and you already talked about the IRA plan. A lot of time was spent responding to that demand on the copyright issue. It took some work, because it was nowhere on MITSC's website. That image. It was buried deep in the hosting services website. But Rafi reached out to them and got them to remove it from everything that they had. So we were able to make that representation back to legal counsel. So that was good, but that did took a while. And we're moving along on the grants. The grant, there's looks complicated, but there's a chart I have attached that kind of shows where we are in terms of the deliverables. Have they been completed? Are they pending? So I just would refer you to that. The one grant that we're working on, the Wabanaki food sovereignty type grant. We're working with Tony and Judd on that. And the major two things we have left on that is well, actually there's three things. Is for Judd to go and look at some of the historical documents to see how sustenance was defined. You know, the argument being that the state's definition of sustenance is really narrow compared to what is commonly understood. So that and actually now they're getting to the point where they're actually defining it in the statutes. It's just for an individual and their family. Whereas the thinking is that that's too narrow, that really should be for, the individual and the community, and to have that ability. So we're looking at the historical understandings of it. And then also, is there a term that could be used instead of sustenance in state law as we move forward? Or should there just simply be a definition that for Wabanaki purposes, sustenance means, for the family or for the community, something broader than that. So we're working on that. And then the other thing is to add a component of C-Run to the Wabanaki Studies program. So Tony's reached out to Bree Lola on doing that. So it'll follow up on that. And what else? And then Bob already touched on the fishing rules, but we have to submit a rulemaking agenda to the Secretary of State's office before July 20th. So I'm working on that. We did one last year, and so it's basically just going to be the same going forward. And then I received an invitation from Senate President Daughtry and the House Speaker Effecto to serve as a non-voting ex officio member of the working group to develop recommendations for extending federal beneficial laws to the Wabanaki Nations. So they're going to begin that work after July 29, 2026. So I guess that's about all I have to report. So Rachel, do you want to add anything? Rachel and I, because of me being sick, we weren't able to connect. So I asked her to write her own report.
I don't think I have anything important to add. I mean, it's in the report. It's a lot of like communications, website design stuff, in addition to the working with Jill on the cultural competency curriculum and then these videos.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any questions or stuff? Okay.
No, sounds good. Thank you. Any
Welcome.
questions online?
Sorry, excuse me.
All right, number 10, restoration of legislative committee with legislative involvement bylaws amendments.
That's sort of a two-pronged thing, as we talked about earlier. The issue of how to amend the bylaws got tabled. And we're also, before we know it, the legislature is going to be back in session. And I still need to be able to know how to proceed. There's an issue that needs some response to it. So I was wondering if you could reconstitute your legislative subcommittee, because I believe you had one, and then they would be charged with maybe writing the amendment to the bylaws and then also implementing it.
Is Darren still on? Darren?
I think it was Darren, Zeke, and I were the subcommittee at some point.
Okay.
Are we all willing to reconstitute that same group?
Yes.
No, you weren't part of that.
You're not asking.
No, appointed. Yes.
Zeke, you with me?
Yeah, so the proposal is that me, you, and Darren collectively write that amendment and submit it to the rest of the commission, just us three.
I think that's where we're
I
at.
think that's the question, yes.
Okay, I mean, there's a reason why this is such a complicated issue that we haven't been able to hammer out. I'm not sure. I mean, even with the three of us, we just create something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Bob. Do you have an idea you ready to run with, or?
Absolutely not. And it's entirely possible that the recommendation of our subcommittee may be that it's not possible to propose a bylaw that will control every possible situation. But let's get together, just the three of us by email or Zoom or whatever, and see if we can narrow the scope of this down at all.
Okay. I mean, I don't, yeah, okay, sounds good.
It may be doomed, but we'll try it.
Yeah, but I mean, your suggestion earlier about just acknowledging the fact that MITSC isn't designed to handle things that quickly and being honest with that, if the Judiciary Committee or whoever reaches out and asks us to, we just explain the difficulties in MITSC's process and that we can't do that. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the easier answer. But when it comes to creating a bylaw and the specific instance when it might happen, and for a MITSC bill, for instance, yeah, we should have some wording there. So yeah,
I mean, there have been instances where somebody from the legislature asks a question that's an easy one for us. We've done it before. We've told prior legislatures what the position is. So there may be some of those, and I hate to just close the door on them every time they ask. But we have to do some thinking about the more open-ended questions we get, like, does MITSC support the bill that was just lodged 2 weeks ago and amended last night?
Right.
yeah, yeah, and that's just the reality is. I mean, well, I guess the question also is, within recent memory, has that happened? I mean, I've been on the commission. I mean, I think it might have happened way back when, but recently, when it comes to those kind of questions, we have other lines of communication. We have the Wabanaki Alliance. We have the lawyers are from each one of the different tribal nations are all in active communication with each other. That is something that didn't exist in the past, but it is now. So, which is it's a wonderful thing. But when it comes to, if you want to reach out and get a response from the tribal governments, Wabanaki Alliance, the lawyers are far more easily suited to do that as far as quick communication. So, we, I assume it might potentially happen. Reaching out, the Judiciary Committee reaching out during a work session to get our thoughts on an amendment. It might happen, specifically for a MITSC specific bill, maybe. But I guess it wouldn't hurt to put that into language, saying that. No, I don't know. I mean, we can have a Zoom meeting specifically talk about this, Bob, and then try to figure this out. But
yeah. You put your finger on it. The legislature has used MITSC as sort of a clearinghouse for all the tribes. And I know better than that now. The Wabanaki Alliance may be exactly where we should be referring them to. Okay, Ian from Bert.
We got Bob there. Bert.
Yep, Bert.
Yeah, as I'm listening to this and thinking about it, I'm also looking on my screen here. She's not on the video part, but we have someone else that's has been involved in being able to figure these things out when it comes to legislature, and that's Rena. I mean, and the thought of it is, you have Darren, you have Zeke, you have Bob. Then what about Beskidamokadi, which is Rena. Hate to throw you under the bus, lady, but I think that would be an important addition to the talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Rena, if you'd like to join us in that, that subcommittee meeting, that'd be great. Wonderful.
We'll appoint her. Yes, sorry, here's the, Jill?
Yeah, I was thinking about this and I was trying to think of, is there any other commission that has to react to like pending issues so quickly? I was thinking of Maine Arts Commission, Land Use Regulatory Commission. Couldn't really come up with anything to say maybe there was, some sample procedures out there. But then things have happened where MITSC hasn't been in the room and we've been given responsibilities like the approval of wind power projects. That was one. And then this thing with the this new working group I'm on, I'm an ex officio non-voting member. I mean, talk about you put all this time and effort in and then you don't have a voice on there. I mean, I probably would have made a stink and said, well, I'm just one person. I should get a vote. Or that position should get a vote. So there are times where things happen. So it's not just where all the tribes are necessarily involved in it.
Yeah, and another good example is the collaboration statute, which said there shall be collaboration, and nobody thought how that's going to be implemented, and it just sort of drifted over to MITSC, and we sort of volunteered to take it on because Lord knows nobody else will.
Yeah.
On the bright note, once that training is in the can, so to speak, and it starts being distributed to state employees, the state government and the budgeting people may have a better idea of what MITSC is.
Maybe we can put that in the writing somehow, Bob, and say in the instances when MITSC is brought into a discussion to serve on within some capacity, then we will have this specific bylaw come into effect where, then we can do the whole emergency meeting thing. But for majority of instances, we don't need to do that. But
yeah,
Right.
we can figure it out.
Yeah, I'll follow up in writing with you and Darren and Rena, and that'll probably result in a draft, which I'll probably volunteer to do. We'll put one foot in front of the other.
Thank you, Bob.
That's a good idea.
All right. Thank you all. Let's see. Omnibus.
well, there's 3 things in it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, one you've discussed quite a bit, which and the Mi'kmaq Nation is on board with it, is to reintroduce LD 394, which went all the way through the process, and the only thing that stopped it from being effective was the lack of certification by the tribes that was needed. So whether I don't know that MITSC is necessarily I don't think MITSC's going to be proposing that. I think the last we left it was there's a suggestion that the governor's office would be proposing such a bill. I don't know how that works, but I don't know. Is Rena still on? So at any rate, somebody should be reintroducing that. And then back to the question of whether we want to eliminate the word Indian from MITSC's name, because it's taken out in the rest of the statutes. And then the third issue was what I had mentioned about restoring exclusive jurisdiction of the tribes over 10-acre bodies of water wholly within Indian territory.
So the LD 394, they did not, were they not using a Aroostook Band of Mi'kmaqs in turn instead using Mi'kmaq Nation?
Yeah, they were using in the name of the bill, it was Aroostook Band of Mi'kmaq, so that would have to be changed.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So Jill, are we headed for some kind of an omnibus bill that would address all these issues?
It doesn't have to, but one can tag on to the others. I don't know if that's useful.
That's the way the federal Congress does it.
Right, because these are all related to MITSC in some way. Membership, name, and our jurisdiction.
So can we say eliminate the moniker Indian
The moniker.
rather than eliminate Indian?
Oh, right.
Right, Bob?
The term Indian or the designator or the incorrect designator?
Incorrect. Maine Travel State Commission. That covers it.
Works for me.
Yeah, so much easier to say too.
Yeah.
Not redundant. Okay.
And you still pronounce it MITSC.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. Yep.
I like it.
So I don't know that you need to do anything more. I just wanted to put it out there so you would be thinking about it. So when the legislature starts back up. Oh,
Okay.
I already told you Penobscot's restoring its representative, so that will be good.
Oh, has a person already been elected or appointed?
Well, we only have one candidate running, James Sapir Jr.
Yeah,
I think.
he's running unopposed.
I think so.
Good.
Bert, there's nobody else running for that spot, is there? That you know of?
I don't believe so. I think it was just Jim.
Mhm. Okay.
So is 12 taken care of? Jill, or is
Yes,
that?
yes,
need
it
to
is.
get-
Yep.
okay, thank you.
It is. Right. And then this next one, I was just thinking of, how to get MITSC more in the eye of folks and, raise the public profile if you wanted to do that, would be to actually have an award that you could, give out either annually or biannually. And I was thinking, well, what could it be about? And I just thought, well, maybe Excellence in Advancing Tribal State Relations Award. And I was thinking the former Speaker of the House, she did a lot around the collaboration statute. So somebody like that, if you want to recognize that as a positive thing. So I'm just putting it out there.
Like once a year type thing, you mean?
Yeah, once a year, once every other year.
Bob?
Because it would,
People are pointing at me. I'm listening. It might be a good idea.
So that would raise awareness of MITSC as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
John
Which is-
Diefenbacher would love anything for a press release.
There you go. All right. So do we want to vote that in, or what do you want to do? You want to create that? I mean, it's something, I don't even know we need to vote if we wanted, I mean, if somebody's opposed to it.
But I think we'd only need to vote on the person if we actually pick one.
Oh, yeah, right.
The
Well,
recipient.
maybe a description of who's qualified to get it.
Yeah. So who wants to take that on, determining the kind of guidelines?
Just shrunk. He's hiding.
And then what would the award look like? A plaque?
Birch
Maybe a
bark.
plaque.
Birch
A new
bark.
color.
Large soccer ball.
Not soccer ball.
No, it's on a birch bark scroll. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Could be something like that.
Actually, I do like that, actually. Put the birch bark right in a frame.
Yep.
Yeah. Could be. You better get busy.
Yeah, better get busy.
I'm happy to work with somebody else to write up the description if you're interested.
Sam, Darren, Ezekiel?
That sounds like a nice idea.
Yeah.
There's awareness and yeah, get people thinking about MITSC and yeah, sure.
I agree.
Oh, okay, well, I was asking if somebody wanted to work with Jill as well.
Oh.
Crickets.
I'm feeling very unpopular right now.
No, everyone has full confidence in your ability to say this through.
I think you do a great job.
Well, Bob, you're a wordsmith. Maybe could you work with me?
I'd be glad to work on editing, just not very creative.
They're not very creative. Yeah.
That's my problem. All right, great. Thank you. And last but not least,
Is there the meeting dates? And actually Rachel researched these and so she kind of came up with this list for you to consider.
It's attempting to follow the pattern we've been following with quarterly meetings that are rotating around. The only thing I switched in the pattern was to put Augusta in January because it seems like if we're meeting in Augusta, it makes sense to do it during the legislative session.
aren't they in session in April?
Yeah, I just switched it with Mi'kmaq because it felt like maybe that was a nice time to go up to Aroostook County would be in July. But we can.
Do we need to try to go back to township? It's not really their fault. We're not
Yeah,
meeting there.
And why Augusta? Are we necessarily,
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, is there
If we need
purpose-
Augusta,
is there
good during
purpose
this
for-
session.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, Jill, do you know when the session begins?
No, I should look that up, but I haven't looked at it yet.
I would choose township over Augusta or Maliseet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to change that and send out a new draft.
But those dates are good, basically, right? Is that what you're saying? You researched there's no conflicts of celebrations and whatnot?
I don't think that there's any conflicts that I'm aware of. That's following the second Friday pattern that we've been following with the adjustment in July for the Wabanaki arts event in Bar Harbor at the Abbey, which was always a conflict. So that's why that meeting in July is the third Friday instead.
Okay. Great. So we all like the dates? November 12, wouldn't that be, that's not Veterans Day?
It's the day after. So that was one question I had. Does anyone have an issue that Veterans Day is the day before and then we'd be meeting the day after? I don't know if anyone was planning on like taking off.
Plus I can get back out to hunting right after.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, we can certainly adjust if that's the problem, like later in the, move it to maybe even the first Friday, whatever day that is. It would be what, the 5th? Cause I mean, if people wanna go on vacation in November, maybe they want the 2 days. They take 1 day off from work and then they have the 11th off as well. What do you think? 5th or 12th? November?
Friday.
Or we could even do the 19th.
You're pushing on to Thanksgiving.
Although that's the entire next
Thanksgiving's the
week.
26th.
It's deer hunt.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I really don't see there's a problem with the dates that are there, actually. Especially, November 12th.
That's the easiest if we don't change them. But
Okay, so we'll leave them. What about changing Augusta to Township or Maliseet on January?
And like, I think, when is I feel like Maliseet isn't on here because that must be coming up next. So in the rotation
Oh,
of tribal communities, we're trying to keep an order, so like it's rotating around to each
Okay,
community.
order has it then, we'll do.
So it's not that HBMI was left out, I think it's that we're going there next. And so if we went there
And next
January, then it would be 2 in a row.
Next being when, November?
Yeah.
All right, so township over Augusta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, something that came to my mind was, I know we have, we do have state commissioners. And I think the rotation that we've always gone by is keeping that in mind. I think that, when we think about the location, of where our state commissioners reside, we've got to keep that in there as well. I mean, I know Bob, you live the furthest away, but
Augusta.
yeah, I guess Augusta would be closer for you, huh?
I don't mind going elsewhere though.
Yeah, I know. You can. We like you coming up.
I like to go.
All right,
Before we break, Jill, for what it's worth, whoever's on the other end of Chat GPT says the Maine legislature must reconvene December 2nd.
Okay, thank you.
Doesn't mean they will.
Right.
all right. Anything else?
Well, I just wanted to know, Newell, that if anyone has somebody they want to come speak to the commission as a guest, anybody who's intriguing to you, can you just let me know for future agendas? Like the new governor, maybe.
No, we ought to book one of our statutorily required meetings with the new person.
Or the
whoever
new
she is.
senator, too.
See if we can get on there.
I mean, what? Sorry.
And we'll have a new representative for first district, right?
Second district.
Oh, second district? Oh, yeah, you're right, sorry. You should be first. Geographically. Okay.
All right, nothing further, motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Same two, always motion adjourn in seconds here. Bob and Joe.
Bob. Okay.
Who's third? Hey, may not be a record, but
okay, I will off the live stream.
Jill,
Yes.
the form, do we give that to Rachel or should I send it to you by email?
Don't